Hey everyone, so based on the last chapter, it does seem like we are somewhat getting the split matchups of Luffy versus Kaido and Kid versus Big Mom. However, this is definitely not the first time this arc that certain matchups seem to have been set up and then been switched up. I think for a lot of readers, this does seem like the easiest way for Oda to sort of do things right on paper by basically giving Luffy Kaido, but still giving Kid a comparable win against the secondary antagonist, Big Mom, and thereby maintaining a sort of rivalry between Luffy and Kid. However, I don't think it's as cut and dry as that, and before we get into it, make sure to subscribe for more One Piece videos every week. So, to start with, I like Kid and I have high hopes for his character, and understand that to a lot of readers, he has been falling short of expectations as Luffy's new rival from the get-go, just been failing or falling short over and over again. I'm not talking about during Sabaody, where Kid was an exciting new prospect in the series, a rookie with an even higher bounty than Luffy, who seemed to share that same confidence we love Luffy for, even with a slightly more malicious twist. I'm talking about since his reintroduction in the New World. Because since the time skip, Kid has kind of been struggling the entire time we've seen him. Yes, initially he has some big plans and he's introduced with a pretty decent bounty, but pretty much from the moment Luffy makes his big debut in the New World, Luffy is already the one taking up attention, making big strides, and before Kid and Luffy even meet, their trajectories have taken vastly different directions, with Kid being completely crushed, humiliated, and captured, and Luffy already being in the conversation for Emperor of the Sea within probably a month of being in the New World. To be clear, this is not a video of me trashing Kid. I think he gets enough of that from reactionary readers with little patience. I am genuinely interested in the direction Oda is going with this character, because it does seem very deliberate that Kid is made out to look like a bit of a failure in comparison to this hypothetical rival Luffy, even before their storylines intersect. Oda seems to be making a clear point that Kid's reputation has taken some serious hits in the pirate world, so it's clearly deliberate that Kid's storyline is starting with him at a very low point as a character. He's lost his arm, been beaten down, betrayed, captured, his crew tortured. Oda is well aware that Kid has not been made to look good, right? That's an in-story point that's been made as well. That is very deliberate, so understanding that there's some point to this, let's talk about the rooftop battle and whether or not he is going to get to take down Big Mom. So, I think most people would agree that, Kid has not seemed like the most useful of the bunch up on the rooftop. Out of everyone assembled there, he is the only one yet to do damage to either of the Yonko, and even his first mate had a big moment before Kid himself did. Now, Oda isn't stupid. I'm sure he's aware of what his characters are doing. Oda obviously knows that someone like Zoro has gotten a lot of really impressive moments, and someone like Kid, Luffy's supposed rival, has yet to scratch Kaido or Big Mom. Obviously, Kid is going to get some major shine in a big way. I don't think it would be a particularly compelling rivalry if Kid isn't at least comparable to Luffy's first mate, let alone Luffy himself. So, to a lot of readers, this might be the simplest route. Just give Kid a big win by having him fight Big Mom. So it's comparable to Luffy, but maybe not quite as impressive, but still comparable. However, the reason I don't think it's so straightforward is because we have yet to fully understand what Oda wants to do with Kid's character. And really, for both Luffy and Kid, we have to take into account what it seems Oda wants for these characters before just penciling in matchups. I think it's entirely possible that Kid does fight and defeat Big Mom. I'm not saying it won't happen. I just think we should step back and look at the possibilities because I see three different options right now. So option 1 is the raid fails, in which case no one defeats anyone right now. If you doubt that, then let's say this is the final battle, in which case we're looking at options 2 and 3. So, option 2, let's say Kid does defeat Big Mom. I think that that checks off the boxes of people being satisfied that Kid isn't useless. It will probably require some power-ups for Kid that will make him seem comparable to whatever new stuff Luffy will bust out by the end of his fight with Kaido. And maybe it even sets us up, maybe for a scenario at the end of Wano where the world at large may be ready to announce 2 new Yonko in the place of 2 fallen Yonko, meaning maybe Luffy and Kid potentially replacing Kaido and Big Mom in the pirate world in terms of status. That's obviously not something that has to happen, but I have heard a lot of discussion of what the new, Yonko system would look like after Kaido and Big Mom fall, or, even if there even will be a new Yonko system or the whole thing is considered dissolved. And I'm just saying that if Luffy defeats Kaido, if Kid defeats Big Mom, then sure, on paper it would very well look like 2 Yonko have just been replaced by 2 new Yonko, and the new lineup would be Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, and Kid. Obviously, people have serious doubts about Kid being, Yonko material, whatever that means at the moment. But if we're talking about the hypothetical world where Kid defeats Big Mom, then this wouldn't even really be a discussion. Like, your opinion of a character will obviously change once you see certain feats. Like, an arc ago, many people would have called you crazy if you said that Zoro could block a combined attack from Kaido and Big Mom at the same time, even for a moment. But now that he's been doing all this crazy stuff, most people probably view Zoro in a much higher light than they did at the start of the arc. So point being that whatever your opinion of Kid is now, if he does beat Big Mom, then most people will probably be on board with him being called a Yonko if or when that happens. And I do think that is this whole thing I described is sort of the straightforward route. Luffy gets Kaido, Kid gets Big Mom. Straw Hats handle the Beast Pirates below, and hey, maybe the Kid Pirates even handle the Big Mom Pirates when they finally show up. Who knows? But point being, you can see a kind of easy by-the-numbers route to this arc ending, with some very simple parody of Kaido and Big Mom going down, and 2 super rookies taking their place. Or even if the whole Yonko system dissolves, I think still seeing Kid take down Big Mom would at least give Kid and his crew a comparable status to Luffy and his crew in the pirate world post-Wano, which would make this rivalry dynamic that Oda has been playing up continue for a while longer. I can definitely see all that happening, but I do question it for a few reasons, and I think option number 3 still exists, which would be that Luffy defeats both Big Mom and Kaido at the end of the day. The simple reason, first of all, is that Luffy has significant motivation to take down Big Mom. This is an antagonistic relationship that has been developing since literally Fishman Island, and we got an entire arc devoted to building up that enmity, that animosity. We have countless quotes from both characters of how they want to defeat each other. Like, a lot of time has been spent setting up the battle between Luffy and Big Mom, like hundreds of chapters. Not to mention a lot of time has been spent reiterating over and over again that Luffy's intent is to take down all the Yonko, not just 1 or 2. It sounds like that is actually essential to his story to becoming Pirate King. The Pirate King is the one who will defeat all the Emperors. Now, on the other hand, Kid has 0 motivation to fight Big Mom, and so far Big Mom has expressed 0 motivation to fight Kid. Yes, Kid invaded her territory once and has been messing with some of her business, but that's nothing that's really been acknowledged at all in Wano itself or made a big deal out of, and it's nothing compared to Big Mom's grudge against Luffy. But more importantly, all of Kid's story set up this arc, his entire motivation so far, has been to get revenge against Kaido. The entire reason he's here on this rooftop is to take down Kaido. The entire Wano storyline, that has been his motivation. As such, if Kid does fight and defeat Big Mom instead of Luffy defeating Big Mom, it would be taking away a fight from the main character who has heavy motivation and heavy build-up to take down one of his long-running enemies and one of the most important enemies in the entire series, to instead give that fight to a character with 0 motivation to do so. It would essentially be scrapping hundreds of chapters of build-up around Luffy and Big Mom, just to give Kid a fight for the sake of Kid getting a fight. This isn't a theory video, right? I'm not making a theory against Kid fighting Big Mom. I think it's entirely possible that Oda does go through with Kid beating Big Mom. I'm just saying that this route would be really weird. If Oda just wants to make sure that Kid remains a comparable, rival to Luffy, this doesn't seem like a particularly elegant solution. It's actually a very crude way to force a big fight and a win for Kid just for the sake of it, because it would reduce Big Mom's entire storyline and dynamic with Luffy so far to nothing more than her being a sacrificial lamb to give Kid a good feat. It would be like if we're in the final war and Kid just randomly took down like Akainu, because Kid needs to just get a big fight in the final war, doesn't matter who. In fact, if Kid had actually lost an arm to the Big Mom Pirates like it was rumored, then we would have had a much better motivation, but it turns out that was not the case, and that was just a rumor. So all of that is to say that I don't think this disproves that Kid versus Big Mom is going to happen. Again, I'm not making a theory here either way. I'm evaluating the options, and I just think it would be really weird and really forced if this turns out to be the case. What I personally think would be more interesting, going back to everything I talked about in the first part of this video, is the potential purpose of Kid's character that it feels like Oda may be getting at. So a lot of you right now might feel like, look, Morge, if Kid doesn't beat Big Mom, wouldn't that mean that Kid is essentially completely overshadowed by Luffy? Well, it depends on how Oda does it, but what if that's just the point? An idea that's been stressed throughout One Piece is the idea that there can only be one at the top, that Gold Roger had numerous pirate rivals who were all ultimately just silver medalists compared to him. I do wonder if maybe Kid has been written in as a character with that same drive, that same dream, that same determination as Luffy, who we are simply going to watch fall just short of him every time. That's not to say that I think that Kid is not going to get any great moments. In fact, if I had to bet money, it would be that based on Kid's motivations throughout the arc, and this question of who is actually going to take down Kaido in the end, Luffy or Kid, I do imagine that Kid will get some time to shine in a major way against Kaido. Very possibly Kid may even get a period of time where he gets to fight Kaido on his own, or take center stage against Kaido, and hopefully he does well to the point that readers finally come to, actually respect Kid, but ultimately in that case I still believe Kid would simply just fall short. So I'm suggesting a scenario maybe something similar to the Law and Doflamingo situation, where Law got his licks in against Doflamingo, he even got plenty of credit for the defeat, but ultimately Luffy still came through as the star of the show to finish the job. I do think it's very possible that Kid's story in general may simply be the one who is chasing Luffy, getting close in his accomplishments but never succeeded. I think there is a lot more Oda could potentially say with a character like that, someone very similar to Luffy but just always second best, rather than simply having a rival who mimics everything Luffy does. I personally feel there is a lot more you can say about the nature of this climb to Pirate King, and the dreams that are crushed along the way, with a character like Kid, because we've gotten glimpses and insights through characters like Crocodile, or Gecko Moria, who chased that dream but weren't ever quite good enough. But to have a character who is actively trying to climb in competition at the same time with Luffy, but keeps falling short compared to the man who actually will become Pirate King, I think that's a really powerful, tragic character storyline to potentially explore, and it does feel like it fits with the lessons Oda has been trying to instill with us through Kid so far. Rather than just assuming that Kid will get to defeat Big Mom because Kid is supposed to get a big win as Luffy's rival, I do think we should consider the possibility that Kid is not supposed to defeat either Yonko, and is meant to be clearly behind Luffy by the end of Wano. I also would like to think that since the storyline has been set up for Luffy versus Big Mom, and a storyline has been set up for Luffy versus Kaido, and it's been suggested multiple times that Pirate King will be the one to take down all four emperors, I like to think that Oda will follow through on all of those ideas and ultimately have Luffy to be the one to come away with the biggest accomplishments. And even if you would still like to see the scenario where Luffy and Kid both become Yonko by the end of the arc, I think that's still doable without Kid defeating either Kaido or Big Mom. It's not like Luffy had to beat a Yonko for people to start calling him an emperor. If Kid even comes close to defeating Kaido, then he would obviously be one of the top 4 pirates in existence by the end of this arc, along with Luffy, Shanks, and Blackbeard. I imagine Kid would simply have a significantly lower bounty than whatever Luffy's going to get, as there are differences in status and renown even among the emperors, but it would still be ridiculously high by other pirate standards. So, do you think it is more likely that Kid beats Big Mom, or Luffy gets both Kaido and Big Mom? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed, then definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and you can get my extended thoughts on this and all future topics by supporting me on Patreon.